Hello, my name is Janna and I'm a myofunctional therapist. I'm going to talk to you about the myospots, what they are and how to make them work. So number one is that myospots are not a sticky product on their own. If you open your bottle, have a look inside, they don't stick to each other in the bottle, they don't stick to your fingers, they stick only to places that are wet. That is the roof of your mouth is where they're supposed to go. For this to happen, you need to make sure that the roof of your mouth is wet enough. One way to achieve this is to have a drink of water before you apply the Myospot. Another thing that I often say to my clients is to make a puddle of saliva in their mouth before they open it to place the Myospot in. So gather up the saliva, bring it up to the top of your mouth, open, and then place the Myospot. So firstly, to get the most lifetime out of your Myospots bottle, make sure that once you open it, you never put your fingers inside, but rather you tip the bottle to the side to get some spots out, pick one out of the lid and place it in your mouth. They will only stick to the roof of your mouth if it's wet enough. That means if you're feeling that your mouth is dry or you're a mouth breather and your mouth is naturally dry most of the time, you need to take a little sip of water. If you want to just use your saliva or you don't have access to a drink of water, you can really work at gathering the saliva in your mouth, creating a puddle of saliva and bringing it up to the top of your mouth. After that, when you apply the Myospot, you need to make sure that your fingers are dry after you've washed them before applying the product in your mouth. If your finger is a little bit oily or it's a little bit moist still from the water that you've washed your hands with, the Myospot might stick to your finger or your thumb instead of the roof of your mouth. To make sure that the Myospot sticks to the roof of your mouth, you need to apply gentle pressure. If you're applying the Myospot for yourself, that would be with your thumb. If it's for a child, that's with the finger. Make sure that you're not just holding the Myospot to the roof of the mouth, but you're applying gentle pressure. So the person would feel it, pressure from your finger if you're doing it to the child. Now, the extra time that you spend just with the moisture on the Myospot will ensure that it sticks to the roof of the mouth. Remember that Myospots are not a sticky product. They don't have any synthetic glues, so the Myospot needs that time to absorb the moisture to become bonded with the roof of your mouth. It's important that during that first minute or two, there's no extensive pushing onto the Myospot, that the tongue is just gently resting on it. Sometimes children will flick the Myospot, push on it with their tongue, or sometimes put their finger in and move it. So just keep an eye on the little ones in the first few minutes as they are beginning to use the Myospot. If you're having trouble with the Myospot falling off in the first few minutes of use, this is usually because the roof of the mouth is not moist enough and there has been some pushing happening onto the spot. In those cases, I recommend, if you're a parent using it with your child, to watch the child for the first 10 to 15 minutes to prevent them from pushing too much onto the Myospot. You just want the mouth to be still and the tongue gently resting on the spot. The adhesion of the Myospot will improve over the first 3 to 4 minutes, and after that it should be quite solidly stuck to the roof of your mouth, and this is only necessary in the initial stages of implementing the Myospots. After that, your use of the Myospots should be more successful. Sometimes it can be hard to get the Myospot to stick if the roof of the mouth is very narrow and V-shaped. In those situations, you need to find an area that is flatter, which may be slightly off-center to the roof of the mouth, and place the Myospot there while the roof of the mouth is reshaping. To get your Myospots to last, it's very important that you close the lid on very tightly after you've finished using them, because if the moisture gets inside, the Myospots can get damaged. They can also get damaged if the bottle is shaken like this. Children enjoy doing that very much, but it does damage the product. And it's also important to keep it out of sunlight. You don't want to have the whole bottle with you, for example, in your handbag when you're going to a hot car. Just have a few in a small little Ziploc bag instead. And you don't need to keep it in the fridge. room temperature is fine.